you've been into the ciders lately, that's for sure.
I mean, ciders, when they're done right, are so good. They aren't necessarily those, cheap or sweet, sugary type drinks that people think about. You can have really bone dry ciders that are fabulous, absolutely fabulous. And when I was in the UK, that's when I really got into drinking those farmhouse ciders that they have there.
Yeah.
They're just so good.
So is it like farmhouse, like the way that like a saison would be, kind of like open top,
yeah,
like that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
okay.
I mean farmhouse. It's just basically, it was made in somebody's barn.
Yeah. Okay.
As far as like the technique that they do, a lot of them are wild fermentation. Some of them aren't.
Yeah.
Basically, they're just really small production. Ciders that are made in some family's barn. It's cool.
Well,
and that's coming over to the States, or at least quality cider production is started to come here over the last couple of years. It's starting to catch on, and that's why I've been drinking a lot of it, because you can get good cider, and we're near Sonoma. There are several good cideries in Sonoma.
Yeah.
Like the one I was drinking last night, Ace.
That's
It's
right.
from Sonoma.
That's right.
6.9%, goes down so easy.
Yeah.
And it's not sweet, it's dry.
Now, I am curious because, like, we were talking about, like, the process of doing, like, an apple brandy kind of thing.
Oh, Calvados.
Exactly, kind of that style. But my thing is, though, is, like, what would the native fermentation, that kind of, like, bready, really kind of interesting flavor dynamics do when you pass it over through the still?
Oh, when you distill it?
Yeah.
Gosh, we'd have to figure that out.
That'd be a really cool thing to do.
Yeah. I tend to like clean fermentations in distillations. That's mostly for like for barley distillations. So whiskey type distillations. I have no idea what it'd do with apple or even grape.
Yeah, because that's what was going to be like my segment into, like, there's a lot of, like, these wines now that are doing native fermentations, native malolactic fermentations. They're doing, everything as native as possible. And I think, like the actual basis of, like, the Brettanomyces is just like that really, like, technically off flavor that we don't get a lot in the New World wine. What that would do in the flavor profile, would it add or would it, distract? I mean,
generally speaking, it would just get more concentrated in the distillate. And that's all distillation is, really. Is concentrating what you've got in the base distillate, or in the still charge. Yeah.
And you could probably still it over a couple times if it was too.
Oh yeah.
Ready,
Oh, exactly. And the way our stills are set up, we can do any number of distillations running through the plates if we want, in the partial condenser too. I think it'd be really interesting, even with brandy for anything, do a distillation that's very similar to what we would do with our single malt distillations.
Yeah,
is the two-stage distillation, washing the spirit still with the partial condenser. So it's not exactly like a traditional cognac distillation or a plate distillation. It's like literally the type of distillation you'd have for single malt whiskey, but with either with wine or with cider, essentially.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting, because I mean, it really can add like a total different dynamic to what we think is brandy, what we think is, apple brandy, what we think those types of like flavor characteristics are. You drink the high-end stuff, you drink the low-end stuff, and it always seems to have that really kind of like you said, like that clean flavor. I mean, we were just drinking brandy the other night, and I was like, man, this is incredibly fruity for like a spirit I've ever had, as far as like a
but
brandy.
if you have something like cognac, those are heavy spirits, like I mean, almost just overbearing in some senses. But we can do a double distillation would make a relative, not as heavy as cognac, but it would make a more full brandy. Yeah. If we wanted to run it through the plates on the third still, then that would be a lot more clean. Yeah. And I think for brandies that that are shorter aged brandies, the the Colin would be the best way to go.
Okay.
But if we were something that we wanted to lay down for 10, 15 years
Yeah,
or
okay.
more, that would be the kind of stuff that you do the double distillation for.
Okay.
I think, and that's what I think would be the best.
And what would be short term, like as far as like distilling goes, or
Well, for us, I don't want to release a whiskey under 3 or 4, like a major release of whiskey under 3 or 4 years old. I do think, and that's because that's a heavier distillate.
Yeah.
That's the double distillation.
Yeah.
Kind of distillate. With brandy and some other things that we do a much cleaner distillation on, lighter distillation, I think we could release something in 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we could get a good cocktail brandy out in 2 years. I really do.
That's relatively short compared to like some other brandies that I've seen that are blended no less than 10 years.
Oh, exactly. But I think a lot of it's in the distillation process. And if you have something that's coming out pretty clean off the still, you don't necessarily need a lot of time in barrel. And that's the thing is, we're not going to release anything that's not good. It's just, I think we can get there in a shorter amount of time if we distill it in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And really, there isn't much on the market in that range. Like a good brandy for cocktails that's not, E&J or Christian Brothers.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So you basically have that, and you have cognac. There's some other stuff, but really not very much in between. Almost
You're right.
Nothing in between.
You're absolutely right.
And that's something that I've kind of wondered is, why isn't there more playing in that space? Because brandy is beautiful in cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
It works so well. And to have something that would work well in that situation would, I think it'd be successful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's something that I think is going to be catching on here, especially here in the Valley.
Why isn't Napa doing more brandy?
Yeah.
More high-end brandy, especially.
And
it just doesn't make any sense to me.
And why we can't kind of bring it back into like the total culture of, wine and spirits brandy can be that cohesion, that bridge that can, get people excited on both ends.
Exactly. We have, wine is obviously established here. Brandy is made from wine.
Yeah.
It just seems like such a logical, step to take.
Yeah.
To get there.
Yeah.
And to get people interested in it.
I agree. And I think that's what's going to be happening here with like the current gen of, makers, is what we're going to be doing with the traditions, but also implementing our own culture, so we're here to stay.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm really excited to see what can be brought to the table and what's going to be taken off. So yeah, there's so much more to come. And that's the exciting part about doing these experimentations. We have the room, because then that way we can play around. There's no pressure. There's no, we have to get this on the market or else we're done. Our reputation's unleashed.
Well, there's so much creative room for us.
Yeah, and I want to do more videos on like the creative process of, like I said, take your farmhouse cider and differentiate that between like a clean cider that was probably made with commercial yeast and in a commercial environment, and distill both of them at the same time, and just see by comparison what the kind of the farmhouse, the bready kind of flavor profiles can be brought over, and saying, is this a positive or a negative
and we don't know.
And gosh, I wonder how many people do know, because we're able to do it. So
that's kind of the beautiful thing about the distilling industry right now, is because or the craft distilling industry it's so young, and people haven't really explored very much. And so there's so much we can learn. And there's so many questions that we can answer ourselves that there really isn't necessarily an answer to right now.
Agreed. Absolutely. And
it's just so exciting.
Yeah, and that's just brandy, and there's so much other, definitions.
All the stuff we can do with barrels with brandy.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the similar stuff that we're doing with the whiskey,
Absolutely.
Wine barrels and brandy.
Wine barrels and brandy.
Makes sense.
And not only sense, but that would be probably the most delicious thing. Just thinking off the top of my head, how could a used wine barrel not exceed expectations with a finely made brandy?
Yeah, throw like a really, really good brandy into one of those Schaefer barrels.
Oh, yeah, and let it sit for as long as we, are alive. And I would just love to see 25 cases of that being done, and just being a benchmark. And I don't really know any fine brandy houses in America. I can't think of one.
There's some good craft guys that are making brandy, but it's not a lot of volume.
Yeah, and what we can volumize it, but we can also say, hey, like, you can drink something that's on our shores, that's that has the same quality and kind of perseverance as the brandy market. So drink something that is here.
Yeah, bring prestige to brandy in America.
Absolutely.
People almost don't realize that brandy can be made here in some sense.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree.
It's weird, which is just absolutely not the case.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we need to get on it, and I think bring those other distillers in on it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because really, if we've said this before, if one wins, we all win.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And there are some guys making some good brandy in the valley. People just need to know about it. Well, in just California, Sonoma too.